the temple. By Ra's light. The great god dies. And the Aten is taken up by his successor. Was he ever a god? Or only a mortal?
Another trip into the Aten brings us Akhenaten, some dude. I'm not really sure why Bayek is here. From what I remember about our run-up to Akhenaten, Akhenaten is considered by Bayek, because of the multiple religion thing of ancient Egypt, to be a false prophet, being supported by a small group that I believe is called a cult. And this kinda comes out because Akhenaten was one of the guys who was being summoned back to the real world by the Piece of Eden. And at one point did hold the Piece of Eden, so Bayek is still trying to piece together where the hell the Piece of Eden is that is causing all of these atrocities to happen in the mainland, all of these supernatural people supernaturally killing everybody else. You know, now that I think about it, this DLC could have easily been something amazing if Ubisoft had the motivation to create a Majora's Mask styled world where, you know, everybody was just afraid of constantly spawning supernatural murder droids. I don't know why the hell they went with this. Unlike Nefertiti, Akhenaten presides over a completely different form of the afterlife in which it's more of a cityscape rather than just being the Field of Reeds. And considering Akhenaten is considered to be a legitimate false prophet, I guess, considering the things that you were supposed to destroy to open up the boss fight with Akhenaten are actually considered to be false idols that are all around. So basically the entire quest at this point is to go to 5 points in the heaven map, press a button, and then go to Akhenaten himself and destroy him in his own boss fight. Unlike Nefertiti again, Akhenaten is much more of a formidable opponent, and I mean more of a bullshit opponent and not more of an actual difficult and satisfying kill to be made. Akhenaten, unlike Nefertiti, is slower, but his attacks have more range and are more powerful. I think that a single attack of his could take out 1/3 of your health bar if you get hit with a bunch of them, because like the other Pharaoh boss fights that you'll find, these guys have combos up the wazoo. So if you start copping a couple of unlucky shots, you do have the bigger potential to actually die during this confrontation. A lot more so since Akhenaten, like all elite enemies in this game, has a ton more health than a regular enemy, and considering this is the highest level DLC available in the highest leveled areas, there's no real chance to grind beforehand and get to a level higher than the thing you're fighting, and even then it's completely pointless to do so because they're so overpowered that your actual level doesn't actually matter. But still, compared to other entries that we'll see later in the series, Akhenaten is actually quite tame, if you can believe that. I actually, in the footage you're not seeing, I actually died to Akhenaten once because, again, I copped a bit too many shots from his longsword and had to reload. You know, it's just a thing that happened. Other than that, Akhenaten is completely devoid of interesting features, standing in the series, or just any outstanding qualities whatsoever. He's just a false pharaoh. He's just a false god in this game. It doesn't really matter that he is such. It doesn't really bring up any, you know, emotional response in Bayek. Doesn't really carry over to the world building, to any characters. You know, if he really was a false god who was being worshipped, it probably should have mattered a bit more than the NPCs we were talking about, the actual quest we were going on to kill his spirit, and so on. But again, Ubisoft doesn't give a shit, so it just sets up the premise and then lets it fall down, like the flimsy excuse of writing potential that it is. Like I said, Curse of the Pharaohs had so much good standing to be something completely unique and amazing like the Tyranny of King Washington, but nobody on Ubisoft's staff actually stepped in to head up the project in any meaningful way, so we just get flashes of potential obscured by mediocrity.